Hi guys, I am finally doing my first trimester video. I am now halfway through my pregnancy, which is so crazy. So I feel bad that I haven't done this video sooner, but when I found out I was pregnant, I watched a lot of these videos as I was going through my first trimester and experiencing all these feelings for the first time. It was just nice to watch other experiences and what other women went through, just reassuring that like, oh, this is normal, like what I'm feeling is normal. So if you're someone who just searched like first trimester video and have randomly stumbled across this, congratulations if you're pregnant. And yeah, I was totally in your boat too. If you're someone who already follows along and watches this channel, you may be confused about where I'm sitting. Gabe and I are currently traveling, and so this is our little Airbnb. So I'm sat on the floor in the living room, and I just thought I would go through everything with you. Basically, ever since I found out I was pregnant, I just made a list on my phone of every single symptom and everything that I felt. Okay, so I started out with my notes of just kind of an overall first trimester. I thought I would just kind of tell you some stuff that kind of just happened all the time, rather than going week by week of going like, oh, I'm still peeing all the time. Just telling you kind of what happened overall, and then getting into like more detail. Overall, I was peeing all the time. I still feel like I'm in that boat. Like I drink a lot of water still, and so I feel like I am peeing a lot. But that first trimester, I guess it was just such a shock to my body. I have a great bladder. Actually, in my ultrasounds, 2 of my ultrasounds, they both complimented me on so weird how much I can hold my bladder. I drank a lot of water. That's what I was told, drink a lot of water and don't pee. I guess it's like easier for them to do the ultrasound. Both times I had to go let out pee a couple times because there was too much. I was holding too much water in there, and they were both like, how are you holding all of this in? Like, they were very actually impressed with my ability. Waking up to pee at night, that was first trimester so much. Insomnia more at the beginning. Yeah, I feel like my sleep definitely got a lot better, but in the beginning it was just, I was waking up all the time and I would rarely sleep through the night, which was sad. Anxiety and paranoid about any change in nausea or any change at all. Honestly, probably till the end of my first trimester, I was just very anxious, and it's my first time being pregnant and going through all of these things, and I'll explain more when I get to my nausea section. But I would have some days where my nausea would almost completely go away or just be very light, and on days like that I was so paranoid. Bloating all the time. Always bloating, so painful, and my belly would triple in size. I'm still bloating. I think my digestion has just like gotten worse. Oh my gosh, first trimester bloating was really bad. I would take a picture of myself in the morning and then at night, and I'd put them next to each other, and it was so uncomfortable. Very easily out of breath. That is still happening. I feel like just sitting down and talking, I get out of breath. Very dry, which is still happening. I have just like dried up even more, which is lovely. My head, my lips, my skin, just everywhere is dry. Moisturizing all the time and always putting on lip balm. I'll put a picture of the lip balm I use up here. It's actually from Brisbane, my hometown in Australia, and you can order it on Amazon in the States, I think, but it is the best lip balm for any dry skin or anything. I will leave a link to it down below. I feel like it's the only thing that really moisturizes my lips. Chapstick, Burt's Bees. What's the other one Gabe has? I can't picture the name. I think it's yellow. I feel like nothing really works except pawpaw ointment. I like load it on at night too. It can actually be used for a lot of other different things too. I was reading nappy rash, which is, we call diapers nappies in Australia. The last thing for overall was ate so much Simple Mills sea salt crackers. Simple Mills is such an amazing brand. They just have really good ingredients in their foods, but everything is so yummy. Like, their cookies are really good. Everything that they do is really good, but I lived off of their sea salt crackers. They don't have them in Australia, and I was in Australia for like half of my first trimester, but my first half while I was still in the States, I ate them every single day. Like, we always had to be going to the grocery store and getting more. Anytime I felt nauseous, I was always eating these crackers. All right, so that's overall. I'm now going to explain stuff from the very beginning, so like just the first couple weeks. I felt like I had period or pre-period pains, bloating, cramping, sore breasts. I didn't have a huge appetite, and I didn't really know what to eat. One day I wrote, this is how I felt: unmotivated, lazy, ugly, confused, not excited. So much to do, but I don't feel like doing anything. And that was quite a lot of my first trimester, but definitely a lot at the beginning. The further I went along in the pregnancy, and now like it's so exciting and I am so in love. Not that I have met the baby yet or anything, but my love for the baby has gotten stronger and stronger, especially since feeling kicks and stuff. I will say pretty much for my whole first trimester, I just didn't enjoy it. Like it was not fun for me. I just kept saying, I think I'm just one of those girls who don't like being pregnant, because I feel like there's some girls who just love it. I've enjoyed it more now in the second trimester. I had really easy change in body temperature, and then around 6 weeks we had we were visiting Los Angeles in between going from Florida to Australia for Christmas. We were in Los Angeles for a couple days. We found this place that could do a pregnancy confirmation ultrasound, so we went there and it was so surreal. We heard the heartbeat and we saw like a little blob on the screen. I'm going to talk a little bit now about my nausea. If like throwing up is really sensitive for you, I'm not going to be detailed. Well, I'm not going to be too detailed, but if it's something that's really sensitive for you, maybe just skip to like, I'll put the time here, skip to this time. So my nausea started at 5 weeks. And I started throwing up at 6 weeks. I was throwing up quite a bit until 11 weeks. 11 in the 11th week was my last time vomiting. God bless. The throwing up was very painful and uncomfortable, and I would dry heave a lot. It was really hard because I was trying to figure out, like, if I eat before, knowing that it's going to happen, like in the morning, do I eat breakfast as soon as I wake up? Will that help me? Or should I wait, knowing it's going to come, and then eat afterwards? I didn't know what would help. Nothing helped. I tried both. A sad memory I have was just being in the bathroom. My body just felt like there was more to get up than, like, I had nothing left in my body. I just remember being so sad, and I would have tears coming right out of my eyes. I would kind of like yell at my body. I wasn't yelling, but I'd just be like, there's nothing left. Like, I was just begging my body to stop. My nausea would usually settle for the most part after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I found that I didn't throw up past 2 o'clock. Like, I think 2 o'clock was my latest. My nausea would come and go. Like, it would never just completely go away, but it would come back in the afternoon and evening. I wrote, Gabe was very comforting and caring. He really has just been so good this whole pregnancy, but during that first trimester when I was really sick, I know he felt, and I'm sure a lot of other partners feel, just helpless. He just kept saying that he felt really bad and he wished that he could take it away from me. Even though he felt helpless, he was so helpful. I kept telling him not to, but he would come into the bathroom with me and just rub my back and encourage me, like, you can do it. I was in bed a lot of my first trimester just because I was so sick. I would eat from bed, or I'd like eat on the couch. He brought me like crackers, water. He'd bring me my meal, bring me my cutlery. He never once complained about getting anything for me. He has been really sweet, but especially during my nausea and my sickness. I would have some days where my nausea wasn't as bad or would go away, and it would make me so nervous. I think I just learned over time that that's just what my body will do. Like, some days I'm not going to be as nauseous as other days. So at 9 weeks, the nausea turned more into an all-day sickness. Like when you eat something that doesn't agree with you and you have the tummy ache sickness feeling. That was all the time. It got worse after I ate and I would have to go lay down. This was a sickness, so it started at 9 weeks and it has actually carried into my second trimester. The last thing I'll say kind of about feeling sick is that around 9 weeks I started to get car sickness, which I've never dealt with any car sickness ever. This happened while we were in Australia and we were staying about 40 minutes from my family, and just being in the car for 20-30 minutes, I would get just, a really bad car sickness feeling, and I just felt like I needed to get out, I needed to go lay down, I needed to get fresh air. That carried on, I think, until the end of my first trimester. Okay, I'm gonna tell you 2 weird things that happened. This first one was my smell. My smell has been really weird this pregnancy. I'm just gonna read you what I wrote. This was at 5 weeks. Either Gabe or I smell weird every now and then. I think it's me, but it always happens when I'm near him. A really weird smell that I've never smelled before, so hard to describe. Kind of rotten, like a rotten period or something, a bit spicy, so weird. This has been the weirdest thing that has happened to me, I think. The next week, so week 6, I wrote this. It's definitely me that smells. OMG, it's so bad. It happens when I have to pee. It's so strong, it's so bad, Gabe can't smell a thing. As like the weeks went on, I realized it was me smelling. And whenever I smelled it, I'd be like, Gabe, do I smell right now? And he couldn't smell anything. But it happened when I had to pee or when I went to pee. Really bizarre. Now it's like totally settled down. I think every now and then I'll get a whiff of it and be like, oh my gosh, there's that smell again. First trimester, it was like every day. It was so bad. Please let me know if you have a similar story and just you smelled really weird. I don't know, I'm just so curious. I'm just so curious because it wasn't like BO, like it wasn't like I needed to put on deodorant. Somehow this smell was releasing from my body. Sometimes it would just happen, like I would just smell it on me. As it went along too, it became less like a rotten period smell and more like a rotten toast. The smell didn't change. I'm trying to describe it, but even rotten toast, like that doesn't do it justice. It was the worst smell. The other weird thing that happened was I guess cravings. I haven't experienced like a really strong craving yet of like, oh my gosh, I need to have this and I need to have it now, but just my appetite for stuff changed a lot. Pretty much I only wanted savory food, and if you have watched my videos for a while or if you know anything about me, I have such a sweet tooth. Normally, like after dinner, I always need something sweet, whether it's chocolate covered strawberries or an ice cream or some cookies or something like that. Chocolate, oh my gosh, like Australian Cadbury chocolate is like my favorite thing in the whole world, and I just didn't want anything of it. I actually, when I got to Australia, I tried some chocolate that last trip I loved, and I tried it and I actually thought it tasted bad, and I was like, Gabe, you're gonna have to eat all this chocolate. All I wanted, and it's pretty much still the same now, savory cheese and crackers, meat. Like the perfect meal for me is like meat and vegetables or meat and salad. I like went through a huge salad phase. I would get a good salad in front of me and just be like, this is the best thing I could ever have. For breakfast, I loved eating like a breakfast sandwich, gluten-free bread and egg and cheese and meat. And when we were staying at my parents' house, my mum would make us these breakfast sandwiches, and I just said like, this is literally the best food I could eat right now. Like there is nothing better I could eat. Now I feel like it's eased a little bit. I'm still wanting mostly savory food, but we have these paleo toaster waffles. I love making those in the morning. Okay, I'll quickly touch on my sore breasts. Something I already mentioned at the start, like it was very bad in the beginning. Oh my gosh, the beginning. For I'm not sure how many weeks this feeling lasted. It was definitely a couple weeks. It felt like I had sharp knives. Moving was just so uncomfortable. They were very sensitive and just yet felt like really sharp. I don't know how else to describe it, but I just said felt like sharp knives. Trying to sleep was so uncomfortable. So being a side sleeper, like laying on my side, it was so uncomfortable, and then trying to turn to the other side was so painful. But I think maybe where I went wrong is pre-pregnancy, I would normally go to bed in like a t-shirt. I wrote down that at 8 weeks I started to wear a bralette to bed. I think that helped a lot with the pain, and it kind of just like secured everything in place, and stuff wasn't like moving around as much. It seemed to settle down by 9 weeks. At 11 weeks I had another ultrasound, and it was really the first one where we could see the baby. The other one that we had at 6 weeks was really just like a little speck. We didn't really know what we were looking at. This ultrasound was so amazing, and 11 weeks, so much was already formed, and the baby looked like a baby, like it was the shape of a baby. It's been so incredible to go through this process and see how quickly everything forms, and it's really so incredible. Something I'll mention really quick is my really first memory of pregnancy brain, and this we have talked about on our other channel. So this was at 12 weeks, and we were driving home from somewhere, and we were just around the corner, like maybe 2 or 3 minutes away. I have no idea what happened, but I just took my seatbelt off, and I was like, I have no idea why that just happened, and I put it back on, but for some reason my brain just like thought we were home, and we were in the car like a couple minutes away from home. So I say that was my first little bit of pregnancy brain, because that I just have no idea. And now I feel like I just have really dumb moments every day, and I'm like, oh, that must have been pregnancy brain. Like I'm using it as an excuse. For the last couple weeks of the first trimester, I just made a couple notes. I experienced some dizziness and headaches, but that didn't last long. I think that was maybe a week or two. At 12 weeks, I started feeling so much more like myself and like I had a completely new body. And then the other two things I have is really bad digestion and bloating, which again, I pretty much still have. It's not as bad now. And then I started to experience round ligament pain, which I had to Google because I started feeling these pains and I was getting a bit nervous, and I was talking to my mom, and my mom has the same pregnancy app that I have. When she found out that I was pregnant, she was like, I want the app, like I want to follow along. So she has the app and she read on the app about round ligament pain. The week that I was on, it said that it's pretty common to start feeling that. That's all my notes. I know I've forgotten stuff that definitely covers the gist of it, but no matter, like even going through the bad stuff, and basically the whole first trimester was very unenjoyable. I just knew this pregnancy is such a gift and that this baby is such a gift, even though like I really want to say I didn't enjoy my first trimester at all and it was terrible. Like I really am just very grateful for what's happening and like grateful for this little baby. Getting all the baby stuff together, and I've made a list of everything that I need. Definitely now I'm having a much better time. I don't know how to describe it, but I felt like there wasn't really anything tangible for me to fully grasp what was happening and to like love what was happening. But now with the baby like moving and kicking all the time and I can see it on the outside now, it's all really special. Anyway, the last thing I'll say is that if you are new to this channel, I have a separate channel with my husband where we film and like vlog a lot together. The whole process of me finding out, me telling him, telling family, telling friends, all of that is on that channel. So I'll leave a link to that channel down below if you want to go check out any of those videos. Anyway, love you guys and I will see you in my next video. Bye!